You can imagine that at a conference like this, as in most work situations, there's a lot of talking. So I love the presentation given by Kaouthor Darmoni, Assistant Professor of Gender and Media, working in Amsterdam, but from Tunisia. She shared insights from her Arabic culture, where as a young girl she noticed how women could be so powerful and beautiful at home, and yet invisible and submissive in the public space. Since arriving in France to study from her native country, she was disappointed in Western feminism, which achieved great things but disassociated women from the power of their femininity and the wisdom of their feminine body, making women believe that they must compete with men with their brain in a gender-neutral way. Her message was one about using our physicality, getting out of our heads and into our bodies. I asked her why it's important for women to do that.
Because I think, anyway, whether if it's for women or for men, it's very important that we have the connection between the mind and the body. But we have been, especially in Western culture, so much trained into functioning only from the body, stepping back to René Descartes and in the Age of Enlightenment, je pense, donc je suis. I think, therefore I am. So literally, I am my brain, which is such a limitation because the body also has wisdom. The body is also giving information. When we are doing business and dealing with each other, our body is telling us all the time, like, this feels good, this does not feel good, this is going the right direction, this is going to the wrong direction. But we learn to ignore the signals, and then we only focus on the brain, rational part. And in this situation, I think women and men, we have been trained this way, but for women, this is more difficult simply because we are more connected with the emotions, with the body. Women, we are brought to the body regularly, whether we like it or not. We are more in touch with it. So so in that sense, if we need to bring this change of alignment between the body and the brain, it's easier to show the way. Women here have to show the way to men, have to show to the men, I can be in my brain and I can be in my body and I can still function, I can still make profit, I'm still focused and I'm still leading. You don't have to be afraid of the body. And this is the message that women have to bring. So the feminine qualities, the feminine touch that men and women both need to bring to the earth, it's also its roots into the body. And especially when I talk about the feminine body, I'm talking about one specific area of the body, which is the belly, that area where the intuition is, where the emotions are, where the hints, the guts are. That area has to be activated. And when we are having this connection, then we can thrive in a natural way. It's very important. It's not just like a kind of new age nice idea. We have to go to the body. This is the missing part.
Now, yesterday you had the whole room, about several hundred of us, moving our bellies and moving our breasts, even the men, which is fantastic because we're sitting there listening to information. It was just perfect. And I think one of the points you made, which would be great for you to speak to, is how, society has sexualized the woman's body and it's taken away our freedom to move, hasn't it?
Yes. I always saw it as a disaster, actually, that I grew up in Arab Muslim culture where men and women are all the time separate, like the sexual segregation, which I saw seeing the advantages of it when I started living in the West. But when I was there, I was like very I felt very oppressed by it because we could never have a normal, healthy contact with the men and they could never learn how to deal with us in a normal way. When I moved to the West, I start seeing the advantage of the Arab Muslim culture. Because of the strict separation, we have a lot of exclusive spaces with women alone. First of all, with women from all ages. So we are dancing and enjoying the body, and it's from birth until death. We see women, we have this culture of the hammam, Turkish bath, which is completely closed. In this culture, as a little girl already, you see the evolution of the female body through the ages. You see body young, you see body which is old, you see body which is fat, you see body which has cellulite, a body which is thin. It doesn't matter. It's all bodies, and these bodies, they are alive. They are enjoying themselves. So first of all, we don't learn to judge the female body according to this beauty myth, which is disaster in Western culture. There is no such beauty myth. There is just beauty. All women are beautiful. And the second thing, which is very important, the female body is not sexualized because we are dancing and we are having fun and our breasts are shaking and our butts are shaking, but we are we are enjoying our bodies. There is no sexual connotation to it. I remember when I started, when I started living in the West, I had one of my best friends, and I was telling her all the time, why don't you come to the hammam with me, to the Turkish bath? And every time she says like, no, I cannot. And after 1 year and a half, I said like, come on, why? And she says to me, because I'm too fat. And I remember my answer was, but I'm not a man. I would never look at you like this. I would never look at a woman. We don't look at women like this. So what happened in Western society, which is very sad, we internalized this male gaze on the female body, a male gaze which is also has been completely distorted by the culture of pornification, because porno industry is not anymore porno is everywhere now. It's a culture of pornification, which means it completely dissociates the woman from her real reality, and all this Photoshop and all these things. So the body is important not only to desexualize it, but also to depornify it also. And in these spaces, in my culture where I come from, where we are completely amongst women, we have this pure way of celebrating the female body in its most purest, beautiful form as it is.
In a nutshell, we already said we could talk for hours. In a nutshell, just explain about how a woman might use her body in a business context, because you referred to that.
Yes.
Because we're in dialogue with men, but we're not using our bodies.
Yes, I mean it's difficult to talk about it, because it's usually something that we have to feel, you know.
Oh, it's very visual.
Yes.
We are talking on radio.
But the most important is like once we desexualize this female body, and then we get in touch with that feminine body. That feminine body is giving us information all the time. So that feminine body also use it to feel, use it to move, use it to protest. Like for example, I saw my grandmother, she grew up in a harem, and I was very impressed as a little girl. Like there would be all these men of the tribe, very patriarchal, macho men, and at a certain point she would say like, this won't happen, very quiet, and then she rises with her breasts. It's like, whoa, she goes like this, and all these men, they go like, woo, and they calm down. And then for me, as a little girl, I was like, wow, this works. It's really like, but women, we don't dare to use our breasts because we think it's sexual. But men, they use it very well, because men, when they want to do their macho behavior, they rise with their chest. But women should do the same as well. It's a natural expression. My grandmother, she always, like when she wanted to put a boundary, she would kick with her pelvis, and this we don't do this. And so with the pelvis, and then you see this primal power, this energy coming from the pelvis and saying, this is and not further. And this is what I mean, it's energy. The female body is full of energy, it's full of energetic expression, and we need to tap into that power, into this knowledge, into this wisdom.